After a harrowing encounter with the blazing remnants of the Coven of Pentacles residents, Rexar, Albus, and Mors find themselves back in Chloria, the city standing on the brink of turmoil. With unsettling news of Visseltor as a shadowy figure looming in the background, the party steels themselves for what lies ahead. The city's tension has only increased after a summons to meet with the king, who hints at the Coven's destruction as more than just a tragic incident. As the party prepares for their next steps, they face a new journey that will lead them deep into the heart of danger and mystery. Welcome to Narrative Tales, where we transform our epic tabletop adventures into immersive audio stories. Dive into captivating narratives filled with daring quests, intense battles, and rich character development. Each episode brings our thrilling campaigns to life, offering a unique blend of storytelling and fantasy. Whether you're a fan of immersive tales or enjoy epic adventures, Narrative Tales delivers excitement and drama straight to your ears. Subscribe and join us on this journey through fantastical worlds, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on our latest episodes. I just want to add before we start this episode that I'm going to be doing a voice. It's voicing the character known as Skiven. I'm sorry in advance. He does a way better job at it in person. I would suggest you go watch the actual play sessions. It sounds pretty good. Anyway, let's get into it. With the city of Chloria behind them, they gather up for the long journey northward to the ominous Mount Camford. Last session's shopping spree left them equipped with some unusual treasures from their ever-charismatic Bribble. However, as they finally hit the road, Reuven makes his exit, leaving the party down one, but ready for whatever awaits. The party, Rexar, Albus, and Mors, found themselves trekking along a forested path, with a fresh breeze rustling through the trees as they made their way towards Mount Camford. Suddenly, around a bend in the road, faint voices echoed from up ahead, their words growing louder and more menacing. "Well, well, well, what do we have here? A lost little lamb in the wrong part of the woods." A taunting voice sneered, punctuated by cruel laughter. Mors turned to Albus, nudging him playfully. "Hey, go take a look. Bet you'd make the best first impression." Albus sighed. "Why is it always me?" With a shrug, he stepped forward to investigate. As he rounded the bend to find three scruffy-looking bandits surrounding a short, rat-like figure. As he got closer, he could make out more details. The figure, about 3 feet tall, with a wiry frame, stark white fur, and thick bug-eyed glasses perched on his nose. The rat man clutched a strange, long, tube-like device, though Albus had never seen one before. "Gentlemen," the rat's voice trembled, though his words were confident. "You need the backup right now. I do not want to have to show you what I have created here. I am simply a traveler looking for work, with very little money. If you be so kind as to go on your way, we can leave in peace, where I will demonstrate the capabilities of my, weaponry." The bandit leader sneered. "Oh really? What are you going to do? Hit me with your pipe?" "Observe," the rat man replied calmly, tightening his grip on the pipe. A loud blast echoed through the trees and smoke puffed from the end of the barrel. The bandit leader's eyes widened in shock just before he crumpled to the ground. Mors, watching from a short distance, couldn't help but nudge Albus. "Now that's what a real wizard does," he quipped. Seeing the litter dispatched in an instant, the other two bandits glanced at each other in fear, then without a word, they turned back and ran into the woods. "Stop!" the rat man called out after them. "I'm not done yet. Oh, blast it. There they go," he muttered, adjusting his glasses. With the danger gone, Albus and Mors approached the rat man, who was dusting himself off and eyeing the abandoned bandit leader with faint interest. "Who are you?" Mors asked, squinting down at him. "And is that some kind of magic stick?" "Oh, this? No, I am no wizard." The rat man straightened up proudly, holding his musket with both hands. "My name is Skiven. I am a natural philosopher, alchemist, field engineer, traveler, genius, a general renaissance rat, if you will." Rexar, looming behind Albus, frowned and muttered, "Does anyone know what he's saying?" Mors patted Rexar on the arm. "It's alright, big guy. He's just smart, or something." Skiven nodded, seemingly pleased by their intrigue. Yes, language may escape some of us, but I have mastered it, along with many other things. So, is there something I can help you with?" "Well, Skiven, we're actually on a mission for the king. It's kind of a big deal. Whole kingdom depends on it, and well, we could use another set of hands, or..." "Pause?" Mors offered, glancing at the rat man's small, nimble fingers. Skiven seemed to consider this, his eyes darting from Albus to the fallen bandit leader. "The king, you say? I suppose I could be persuaded to join you," he replied with a touch of hesitation, eyes twinkling with both curiosity and self-preservation. It's not as though I was exactly flush with coin before today. Rexar peered down at Skiven, one eyebrow raised as he took in the Ratman's slight frame and oversized pipe. So, do I need to carry you? He asked, half serious. Skiven adjusted his glasses with a slight huff. I am more than capable of walking, thank you very much, he replied, standing as tall as his 3-foot frame would allow, and I am certainly not a parcel to be carted about. The party exchanged grins, amused by the bravado of their new companion. As Skiven quickly scoured the bandit's body for anything of value, they prepared to set off once more. The journey would be long, but at least now, they had a self-proclaimed Renaissance rat with a mysterious boomstick to add to the mix. Skiven adjusted his glasses, looking up at Rexar with a calculating gaze. I do have a few tools in need of reliable pack animal, he mused, eyeing Rexar. Heavy work indeed, well suited to a muffled mind. My father always told me I was strong as an ox, and smart as an ox, replied Rexar. Albus grinned, catching on. He'll take care of your bag then. Skiven handed over his kit to Rexar with a little hesitation, muttering about the weight of the invention. It's not just metal scraps, he clarified. This, good sirs, is a gunsmith's kit, essential for crafting and maintaining my invention, the gun. Moores raised a brow. You think this gun is going to replace our crossbows? Not today, perhaps, Skiven replied, his tone confident. But one day the musket shall rule over all other arms. Moores smirked, shrugging. All right, we'll see. Crossbows haven't failed us yet. They hoisted Skiven's bag onto Rexar, securing it awkwardly around one side. As the group resumed their journey, the day eventually gave way to night, and they set about finding a good camping spot. They found a particularly large tree spreading out under its towering branches. Moores rummaged through his pack, producing a tinderbox to start a fire, but Albus snapped his fingers, summoning a flame with a simple cantrip. The fire crackled to life, and soon the group was setting shifts to keep watch over their camp. First shift's mine, Rexar announced, already taking a spot near the fire, keeping his eyes on the shadowed forest beyond. Moores settled in nearby, murmuring, Well, I'm going to get some sleep. We're up at dawn. The night passed without incident, and the next morning they set out early, finding the road fading into dense jungle. The air grew thick and humid, and mud sucked at their boots with each step. Skiven grumbled about the humidity clinging to his fur, but Rexar seemed undeterred, pushing on. Hours later they emerged from the foliage to find a curious sight. A large clearing within the jungle, and in the distance, faintly worked stone stood amidst the green. As the party approached it, concealed in the dense vegetation, they came to realize it was a statue. A well-carved tiger stood proudly on its hind legs, its mouth spilling a continuous stream of clear, refreshing water into a small basin below. Moore studied the water closely, utilizing his knowledge of nature. The water appeared remarkably pure, free from any contaminants. Grateful for the discovery, he took a long drink, relishing the refreshing taste, before filling his water skin with the cool liquid. Rexar, intrigued by Moore's reaction, bent down and began slurping directly from the basin, his strong frame overshadowing the delicate statue. Skiven shared his thoughts on the water's potential origin, speculating about an underground well. Their cautious exploration turned into a moment of wonder as they considered the statue's significance. Albus examined it further, using his arcane knowledge to discern if any magic imbued the statue or the water. His findings confirmed that the water was not sourced from the earth below, but was instead magically produced from the statue itself. Intrigued, he also examined any carvings or inscriptions on the statue. With a focused effort, he recognized it as a representation of a deity known for the protection of the vulnerable, a minor god, called Tara, associated with care and guardianship. The party stood around, feeling a sense of reassurance in the protective nature of the fountain. The group exchanged glances, contemplating the unusual sight in the heart of the jungle, grateful for the unexpected gift of pure water in their journey. As Moores and Rexar examined the canopy above, Moores noted a peculiar inconsistency. The branches seemed unnaturally uniform, lacking the random growth patterns typical of the jungle. While Moores shared his observation with Rexar, they remained vigilant. Suddenly, a twig snapped nearby, drawing their attention. Emerging from the foliage were two small humanoid figures accompanied by two canine creatures resembling wolves, all armed with spears. The newcomers advanced cautiously, their expressions wary, yet curious. Hey, guys, we've got company, Moores alerted the group, keeping his posture non-threatening. Rexar positioned himself protectively in front, gesturing for everyone to hold their ground. The small figure began speaking in a language unfamiliar to Moors and Rexar, their tones filled with questioning rather than aggression. Moors attempted to gauge their intentions through their body language, discerning a sense of curiosity rather than hostility. After a moment, one of the figures, seemingly the leader, approached a nearby tree. He tugged on a vine, causing a platform woven from branches and leaves to lower from the canopy. He gestured for the party to follow. Moors turned to Rexar, who shrugged. What do we have to lose? They seem more curious than hostile. Yeah, but are we really going to jump right in? Albus interjected, cautious. Look, there's 4 of us, and if they wanted to attack, they would have done so already, Moors replied, trying to reassure his companion. With some hesitation, the group stepped onto the platform, the thick vines and greenery shifting underfoot. The platform began to ascend through the canopy, carrying them upwards. As they broke through the leafy cover, a new world unfolded before them, revealing a hidden village high above the jungle floor, intricately woven into the trees themselves. The village came into view as the platform ascended, revealing a network of rustic huts woven from the jungle's greenery. The structures were nestled among the branches, connected by narrow walkways and terraces that overflowed with vibrant, bluish berries. The villagers, gnomes with lively expressions, gestured for the group to disembark and follow them along a winding path through their community. As they walked, Moors attempted to communicate with the gnomes, inquiring if anyone spoke common or another familiar language. The gnomes responded only with encouraging gestures, urging them onward. Eventually they arrived at a larger tent, which stood out due to its intricate decorations and the gentle glow of a small fire inside. Inside, a stocky gnome, adorned in colorful garb and a headdress of feathers, greeted them. He began speaking in his native tongue, but the language barrier was quickly bridged when one of the gnomes began casting a spell. The air shimmered for a moment, and suddenly, Moors could understand the gnome's words. "What brings you to our village?" the chief inquired, his tone both curious and cautious. Moors stepped forward to explain their purpose. "We're on our way to Mount Camphor to deal with a dangerous foe named Vissel Torres. He's been terrorizing people and we need to put a stop to him." The chief listened attentively, furrowing his brow. "I do not know this Vissel Torres, but the mountain is a treacherous place. It is just past the fire line." "Fire line?" Moors asked, intrigued. "Our ancestors established a fire line to protect us from the primates that once threatened our people. They sought to exploit our skills and resources," the chief explained. "In desperation, one of my ancestors called for help, and Kaltara, the guardian you might have seen in the statue, drove the primates back up the mountain. We have an understanding. They do not cross our territory, and we do not venture into theirs." Moors nodded, considering this. "So, if we travel to the mountain, we won't provoke them?" "The fire line serves as a boundary. However, recently some smaller primates have been fleeing the mountain, possibly due to the earthquakes we've experienced. We believe this may be connected to whatever is troubling the mountain," the chief continued, concern etched on his face. "Do you know what's causing the earthquakes?" Moors pressed. "We have no knowledge of the source, but it is troubling. The path is the only route to the mountain, and we have seen no outsiders cross the fire line recently," the chief replied. The party exchanged glances, weighing their next steps. "We want to help if we can. Is there anything we could do? Is there anything we should be aware of before we go?" Moors asked. The chief considered for a moment, then shook his head. "Just to be cautious. If you encounter the primates, they may not understand your intentions." "Understood. We'll tread carefully," Moors promised, and with that they prepared to continue their journey to Mount Camphor, armed with new knowledge and a cautious alliance. Moors gathered the group to discuss the information they had learned from the gnomes. "Alright, everyone, we need to consider our next steps carefully. The chief told us about the primates and the earthquakes affecting the mountain, and it's crucial we stay cautious." Rexar leaned against a tree, his massive frame dwarfing the gnomes around him. "We need to get to Mount Camphor and deal with Vissel Torres, but if these earthquakes are happening, we should be prepared for anything. What if it's related to him?" Skiven, a bit nervous about their surroundings, added, "Do we really want to risk angering the gnomes or the primates? They seem to have a system here, and I don't want to become part of their history." Albus, stroking his chin, chimed in. "Moors, did you learn anything about the earthquakes? They might be connected to whatever is happening on the mountain. We should ask the gnomes if they've noticed anything strange. Perhaps there's some powerful magic at work." Moors nodded, glancing at Rexar and Skiven. "Yeah, I'll ask about that, and those berries they have are impressive. They might help us on our journey." Skiven frowned, still feeling a bit anxious. "And what if the younger primates are being driven here because of something worse? We should be prepared for a confrontation, just in case." "Let's not jump to conclusions," Moors replied, looking around at the gnome village. We need to keep our options open and gather as much information as we can. For now, let's focus on what we need to know before heading up the mountain. Just then, a young gnome rushed into the tent, panting heavily. "Chief! Chief!" he called out, alarm evident in his voice. "Another primate tried to cross the fire line." Before anyone could react, the ground shook violently beneath them. The entire tent swayed and the crackling fire flickered erratically as the tremors intensified. The gnomes exchanged worried glances and the chief shouted for calm. "Stay alert," the chief urged. "This is what we feared. We must ensure our safety and understand what is happening." Morse gripped the edge of the table, trying to keep his balance. "We need to know what caused this. Are these earthquakes getting worse? And what's happening on the mountain?" The chief's expression turned grave. "We do not know the cause, but we must prepare. There have been too many disturbances lately. This one feels different." Rexar stood tall, determination etched on his face. "Then we should head up to the fire line and see what we can find. We can't let whatever is happening up there threaten these people." Moores looked at the gnome chief. "Can you guide us to the fire line? We need to see if we can find out more about these earthquakes and what's happening with the primates." With a nod of agreement from the chief, the group prepared to move, steeling themselves for whatever awaited them at the edge of the gnome's territory. As the ground continued to tremble from the recent earthquake, Moores and his companions raced up the mountain, the chaos of the gnome village fading behind them. The screeching of monkeys echoed through the trees, growing louder and more frantic as swarms of small primates rushed down towards them. "Keep moving," Moore shouted, glancing back to see the gnomes igniting the large wooden cauldrons filled with tar, creating a smoke screen that billowed into the air. "They're not following us, but we don't need to stick around to find out." Rexar charged ahead, his massive form pushing through the dense underbrush as he prepared for the impending confrontation. "What are they doing?" he grunted, observing the commotion. Skiven stayed close behind, scanning the treetops. "I don't know, but we need to be careful. They could come at us from any angle." Just then, Moore spotted the first wave of primates leaping from branches overhead. "Get ready!" he called out. As the creatures descended, Moore positioned himself, a determined look in his eyes. "I'll try to get a jump on them." "Do it," Rexar urged. Moore melted into the shadows, successfully hiding from sight as he prepared to strike. With a swift motion, he drew his crossbows and targeted the nearest cluster of monkeys. He fired, hitting 4 monkeys with well-placed shots. The monkeys let out high-pitched shrieks, clearly agitated by the unexpected assault. Albus grinned, feeling emboldened. "That'll teach them to come at us." Just then, Albus conjured a blazing sphere, rolling it toward the horde of monkeys. With a decisive motion, he sent the fiery projectile crashing into the swarm. The monkeys screeched in alarm as the flames licked at their fur. Skiven's pulse quickened as he assessed the situation. "I'm at the edge of my edge range," he noted, checking his musket. "Time to shoot." He aimed carefully, hoping to take out another few of the aggressive monkeys. "Here goes nothing," he called out, pulling the trigger with a loud bang. The shot echoed in the trees, finding its mark among the rushing primates. "Got one!" Scriven exclaimed, feeling a surge of adrenaline. The chaos continued to unfold as more monkeys swarmed toward them, screeching in fear and anger, some leaping through the air while others scrambled across the forest floor. The sounds of the wild filled the air, mixing with the urgency of their situation. "Keep moving," Moore shouted, rallying his companions. "We can't let them overwhelm us. We have to reach the mountaintop." With determination in their hearts and adrenaline coursing through their veins, the group pressed on, prepared to face whatever awaited them. As the last echoes of the monkeys' screeches faded into the distance, Skiven, now feeling invigorated, took a moment to catch his breath. "Did we really just take down that swarm?" he asked, glancing back at the path they had just cleared. Moores nodded, a grin spreading across his face. "It seems we did. Nice shot, Skiven. That was impressive." As they continued their ascent up the mountain, the atmosphere shifted. A deep, resonant roar echoed through the canopy, causing the group to pause and exchange worried glances. "What was that?" Rexar asked, his brow furrowing. "It didn't sound like the monkeys." "Something bigger?" Moore speculated, peering up through the trees. "Whatever it is, it's higher up. We should be cautious." Albus nodded, feeling a mix of excitement and trepidation. "We should keep moving. Whatever that creature is, we don't want to stick around and find out what it can do." "Agreed," Skiven said. With their senses heightened and weapons at the ready, the group pressed onward, the tension in the air thickening with each step. As they ventured further up the mountain, they couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched, but determination drove them forward. Once they reached a clear vantage point, the view opened up before them, revealing the vast expanse of the valley below. They could see the gnome village nestled in the trees, and in the distance, a swirling cloud of smoke rising from the forest. But the roar echoed again, louder this time. and closer. As they gathered to discuss their options, Albus couldn't shake the thrill of the fight that they had just survived. This was just the beginning, and the mountains held secrets they were determined to uncover. As the last echoes of their confrontation with the monkey swarm faded into the crisp mountain air, the party pressed onward, leaving the gnome village behind. They climbed steadily up the rugged path, the sounds of chaos and shrieks of the primates reaching their ears from the valley below. Sunlight filtered through the trees, casting dappled shadows on the ground, a stark contrast to the turmoil that was unfolding in the gnome's home. Rexar led the way, determination etched on his face as he glanced back at the commotion. The gnome chief's warnings echoed in his mind. The primates were no longer confined to their mountain territory. They were encroaching on the gnome's land, and that could spell disaster for both communities. It was a race against time. The party had to confront the source of the disturbance before the conflict escalated further. The path wound higher, each step taking them closer to the mountain's peak, where the mysteries of the earthquakes awaited them. The air grew thinner, and with it the urgency of their mission heightened. The party's resolve was firm. They would uncover the truth behind the tremors and the plight of the gnomes. Beneath them chaos reigned as the primates crossed the fire line, drawn by an instinct that whispered of change. Unbeknownst to the adventurers, the fate of the gnome village and the safety of the mountain rested on the precipice of their next actions. What awaited them at the summit was still shrouded in uncertainty, but one thing was clear. They could not turn back now. The adventure was only just beginning.